On the 8th of February 1807, 12 miles southeast of Königsberg, took place one of the bloodiest battles of the Napoleonic Wars, the Battle of Eylau. 65,000 French soldiers will face 70,000 Prussians and Prussians. On this day, the brave 14th Regiment of Line Infantry will be sorely tested to keep its honour intact. In the early morning hours, the 7th Army Corps, under Augereau, was sent at the centre of the French deployment. The 14th, belonging to that corps, was sent as the first line to Eylau Cemetery, a strategic key point for the coming battle. At the heart of a blinding snowstorm, the 14th, acting as vanguard, was the regiment most exposed to Russian artillery and suffered its first casualties. Despite round shot and heavy musket fire, it inflicted heavy losses to the 1st Russian regiment to cross its path. When the Russian cavalry decided to charge the 14th, the regiment formed square. Close quarter fighting broke out on several sides as the Russian infantry joined into the fray. During this bloody encounter, the sergeant major bearing the regimental eagle was badly injured, and the eagle was entrusted to one of the bravest men. This man felt a canister fire very swiftly afterwards. Taking advantage of a momentary break as the Russians retreated and reformed, the 14th withdrew to a nearby small hill. But very soon combat resumed. The survivors were all dauntless men, choosing death over the loss of their eagle. Meanwhile, the Emperor was supervising the battle with his staff. He then noticed this daring regiment, surrounded by the enemy, yet still brandishing its eagle to prove it still held, but needed help. The Emperor, moved by the devotion of these brave men, determined to save them. He summoned Marshal Augereau's aides to carry the order to withdraw to the 14th, with the support of a cavalry brigade. As was customary in imperial days, they formed a small column, waiting their turn to receive their orders. The first rode away at full gallop and was never seen again. The second aide shared his fate, his body never identified. So it befell Captain Marbeau, the third aide and Augereau's most favoured, to carry out this most dangerous task. Learning from the previous unfortunate failures, he decided to sheathe his sword and ride straight for the 14th. His mare's name was Lisette, and she was so swift that no enemy rider even attempted to chase her. The 14th was commanded by a chef de bataillon, a major. Captain Marbeau made it clear to him that his orders were to withdraw. The man told the aide that the manoeuvre would be so slow that it would be too late to retreat in good order. He pointed to a new column of Russian infantry bearing down on them. The chef de bataillon handed the regimental eagle to Captain Marbeau. He then asked him to convey the 14th's last adieu to the Emperor and to return to him the eagle they could no longer protect. The remnants of the 14th saluted the Emperor for the last time to cries of "Vive l'Empereur!" they who would die for him. Captain Marbeau mounted his faithful Lisette, but a cannonball grazed him, knocking off his hat and stunning him badly. Blood was running from his nose, ears and eyes, but he did not fall from his horse. The Russian infantry soon arrived. Not any infantry, it was the famed Pavlovsky Grenadiers, Russian elite infantry. Once again, a terrible melee broke out, Captain Marbeau still trapped and dazed within the square. Slowly, the captain gathered his wits. A grenadier stabbed him in the left arm with his bayonet. The second blow was deflected into Lisette's thigh. In desperate fury, she trampled the grenadier below her hooves and broke out of the square, heading for the French camp. Both horse and rider were injured, yet they still endured. A battalion of the Old Guard was heading for the cemetery. Upon seeing a rider heading towards them through the dense snow, they mistook him for an enemy and opened fire. The captain was not hit, and Lisette pushed through the ranks of the battalion and rode on. However, she had been hit once more and collapsed, an artery in her fore left thigh severed. The unhorsed Marbot soon lost consciousness. A few hours later, Marbot was recognized amongst the 1,000 unmoving bodies by one of Augereau's valets, who carried him to safety. Once treated, he was told of the battle's outcome. The 14th had heroically stood its ground until complete annihilation by the massive number of enemies. Once the square broke, the last gallant soldiers fought in small groups until the very end. On the 10th of February, barely half the regiment was present on parade, including the walking wounded. The old guard, who had encountered Marbot, received the order to clear out the cemetery. It did this without firing a single shot, using cold steel only. Finally, the 12,000-strong cavalry charge led by Murat. The outcome remained undecided until the Russian army, running short on ammunition, retired, conceding a bloody victory to the French Empire. 18,000 French dead or wounded, 25,000 Russian casualties. Eylau was one of the largest slaughters of that time. Marbot did not have much hope for his mare Lisette. However, the manservant who had found him was also very fond of her, and returned for her after retrieving Captain Marbot. Fortunately, the extreme cold had helped coagulate the blood, sealing the wound. She was able to walk back to camp and recover. As to the eagle, it was picked up by a grenadier from the 105th. He then handed the eagle to his colonel, which was witnessed by Captain Regiment of the 14th, who secured the restitution of the eagle. However, the 44th of line, fighting 200 paces to the 14th's left in the cemetery, claimed this eagle was theirs, lost during their own retreat. After inquiry, the eagle was finally returned to Captain Regiment and the 14th. The regiment's honour and reputation thus preserved, though at such a high cost in lives. As they contemplated the heap of bodies of the 14th after the battle, Marshal Bessières commented, "See how they lie as slaughtered sheep," to which Napoleon answered, "Lions, sir, they lie as lions."